Yo,
Hey, Paul.
what's up?
Hey. Paul.
Joe.
Paul. Paul, can you hear me?
God damn it, Joe, what?
Paul?
Joe, you just fucking hang up on me.
No, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Are you coming?
yes.
Paul?
Fuck you.
Paul.
She's always asking why I like watching people die, and why I give my kicks while others scream and cry. And my friends think that I'm sick, or maybe uneducated, and my family doesn't want to admit that they are related. Now monsters and madmen who rape and mutilate are perfect entertainment when I take her on a date. You can shove and spark the vampires like family comedies. Give me blood and beast and boots and sacred triple B's. Don't ask me why, 'cause I don't know. Don't close your eyes, enjoy the show. 'Cause I'm a gore out, hellbound horror movie lover. I like my voyeurism with a glass of red rum. 'Cause I'm a gore out, hellbound horror movie lover. Good and evil are
Hello, everybody, and welcome to The Horror Show, the show that dissects, mutilates, dismembers, and butchers all of your favorite and not so favorite horror movies and other horror-related events. I am Sean.
I'm Joe.
I am Paul.
Well, you don't have to steal my gimmick, brother. So we're back. I feel a lot better. I don't feel like I'm dying this time, which is pretty cool.
Good.
Yeah, that sucked.
I wish I was dying
Being sick
after watching
sucks.
the movies that we watched.
Yeah. I also wish I was dead.
I wish you were dead as well.
That was good. Good job, Paul. Leprechaun. So we talked about Leprechaun 1. We talked about Leprechaun 2, 3, 4,
In space.
4 in space. And now we are on In the Hood and Back to the Hood.
Yes.
So these were something. These came out 3 years after our last film.
So 2000.
Yep,
It's Leprechaun in the
2000.
Hood.
No budget listed on this, but I imagine it was more than it should have been.
I would say so.
I would
I
say
actually
so.
made note that looks like they finally got a budget. At least they could afford Ice
They
Tea.
had tons of budgets in the past. I was looking. I was actually re-looking. The first movie had a $900,000 budget, and 4 had 1.6 million.
Yeah, they spent it all on an idiot.
You're fucking.
The idiot android.
I don't know what they
What
spent
was his
it
name?
on.
Mandelhands?
Mittenhands,
Brundlefly?
Dr. Mittenhands.
Mittenhands, yeah.
Dr. Mittenhands. Yeah, so strange stuff. Starring Ice-T as Mac Daddy.
Onassis.
Onassis, as Paul continues to point out to
Mac
me.
Daddy Onassis.
And Cam Newton as Postmaster P.
He does look like Cam Newton.
Dude, the guy looks exactly like Cam Newton. He has the same huge smile, like same haircut, same square jaw.
Yeah,
like,
he does.
I did not realize that until now. And I love it.
Dude, he looks exactly like him. Oh man, it blew my mind. It's all I could think about the whole time was Cam Newton. And what a cocky player he is.
He doesn't even smile after he loses.
Postmaster P is a bad loser. I chose to rent this in HD, and that was a huge waste.
Wait, what?
God. I'm sorry.
Yeah, because I needed to watch it at work, and so I had to rent it.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm an idiot.
You're a better man than me.
Yeah. So let's get started on this. So we're going to talk about Leprechaun in the Hood and Back to the Hood. Oh, I do have something to tell you guys. Would you believe me if I told you the original plan was to, for Leprechaun 5, was to be Leprechaun in the White House?
No, really?
Holy shit.
iHorror.com. I found this today, like literally as I was leaving my house, and I was like, holy shit. And it's the director who did 3 and 4. So not exactly, we're not talking about, I don't know. How come I can't think of the director anymore?
Spielberg.
My brain's like melted. Yeah, we're not talking about Steven Spielberg.
How did they settle on Compton after planning in the White House?
I have no idea. He doesn't explain that because he did not have the job for it.
I would have loved it.
But I'll read this to you because it is so insanely stupid. He said he told the Movie Crypt, which I guess is a podcast with Adam Green and Joe Lynch. I have no idea, but I need to credit my sources here so we don't look like scumbags. He says, I did suggest that number 5 could be Leprechaun in the White House. I said, well, look, why don't you have a shot? But this is so insane. Okay. Well, I can't even handle it. Well, look, why don't you have a shot of the White House? And there's this huge spaceship that comes over the White House like Independence Day. And instead of blowing up the White House, the laser spits something down. And there's the Leprechaun in a block of ice. They've picked him up from space and he's obviously reconstituted his parts. And he's obviously a lot of trouble, so they don't want him. So they spit him down on the White House, and he thaws out, and he gets into the air conditioning ducts. He finds a White House. He finds a White House where there's a president with a zipper problem.
Wait, hold on.
What?
Can I stop you for a second?
Yes.
First of all, he's using the word obviously. Like, none of that is obvious.
No, none of it's obvious.
Second of all, he finds a White House where like there's more than one that he could possibly find.
Yeah. So then it says
A zipper problem?
Yeah, a zipper problem, which I don't know if that's supposed to be a joke.
Is
but,
he gonna fly into someone's dick again?
Well, he said this is before Monica. Everyone knew Clinton's appetites. God. Everyone knew Clinton's appetites, and actually, I rather like Clinton. So, and I said,
looks like we know why it didn't get made.
There are evil Republicans running around wanting to destroy him, but the Leprechaun hears about Fort Knox, which is full of gold, so that can become sort of the fulcrum of the plot.
Wait, what?
Except that's in Kentucky.
Yeah.
Nowhere.
And this is the best part. And they all said, no, that's too wacky. Space was too much, and that would be way too much.
Well, yeah. I agree wholeheartedly.
That plot, when I first read it, I mean, I was not thrilled at the White House plot, but I guess it could have been funny, even though none of these were funny. But the concept is so insane that it, like, now you understand why In Space was what it was.
But I like that there actually is a concept. It's not just that the Leprechaun is there. There's a reason
Paul,
why
that's
he's
exactly
there.
what
That's
was.
exactly what it was.
Leprechaun
Aliens
was
just
there.
drop them off. Aliens are like,
Yeah,
oh.
but at least we know he's joining from space and they
The
fucking particle
aliens,
beam him.
all the aliens would have to do is shoot him out into space. Why would they bring him to Earth and drop him off in
he's
the White
already
House?
blown up and exploded.
Yeah, and then
now he's frozen in ice.
And they're
I'm fine with that.
By the way, we are arguing about
At
a
least
movie
he
that
comes
doesn't
from
exist.
somewhere. At least he comes from somewhere.
Yeah, but no.
He's just not a statue fucking in the ground.
I'd prefer the statue.
I do. I would too.
God, I hate you guys.
Paul,
they pick him up.
They claim that he obviously regenerates his
That's
parts.
fine.
That's not fine.
Listen, I know he was blown up in space and he was like mega sized.
No, they're saying the aliens would pick up all the pieces and
put
then
them
bring them
together.
on board and put them together. And then he was like an asshole, so they froze him. But then why wouldn't you just shoot him into the fucking unknown, into a black hole? Instead, they'd come to Earth
Or just not do anything with
and
him.
drop him in our air conditioner vent. Our air
Into the
conditioner-
most secure building on the planet.
the most
I like
obvious too, like where anyone would ever like where there's always somebody watching, and somebody will see an aircraft, a spaceship. Anyway, we're not.
How do you get into an AC
Why do
vent
they
from
have
the
to have a
roof?
zipper problem?
I think they mean he likes to fuck.
Yeah,
no,
I know.
that's what I thought. But then he's like, no, because Monica wasn't around at that time. It's about his appetite.
For sex.
Wait,
Was he a known hornball before?
Yeah.
Monica.
this
Yeah,
is
yeah,
not
yeah.
this is not real movie.
No.
We're talking. Wait,
Clinton, I believe, actually admitted to like a 13-year affair before that.
Can we just dissect this fake movie instead of talking about In the Hood?
Yeah.
And
Listen,
Back
I'm
to
here.
Them?
I'm here for the politics.
Hey, going back to space, did you notice that it ripped off Rumpelstiltskin?
What part? Well, we
Yeah.
should probably say that for Rumpelstiltskin.
Yeah, fine. I'll say
Check out next week when we talk about Rumpelstiltskin, everyone.
You got a little tease.
All right. So Leprechaun in the Hood. We open with it's a time period piece.
I guess so.
We're supposed to assume it's the 70s. I don't think it says anything.
Well, no, before
otherwise.
that, it starts with the Leprechaun reciting that shitty limerick. He's saying, "No one's safe from a lep in the hood."
Wait. That's how it starts?
Yeah.
In the hood?
Yeah.
Oh.
And then it goes to the 70s.
All right, so it opens up with that lep in the hood, I guess. I don't even remember. Whatever. But Ice-T shows up. He's got his afro.
Hair.
Fantastic afro. Huge.
Absolutely.
What do they
awesome.
say? On fleek?
On fleek. Eyebrows on fleek. That's what the kids are saying.
His hair is on fleek.
He's got bell bottoms, platform shoes. Yeah, I don't know how to use it.
What does fleek mean?
I think it's good.
I think it's like ill.
Oh my god. You can't use something we don't know what.
We know what ill. It's like sick.
What?
Can you just say cool?
It's pretty cool.
You're just using other crazy words to describe it. And by the way, that just like made me sound really old. Crazy words. Ill and sick. So we haven't even gotten past the first fucking thing. So they have a treasure map. Guy sells Ice-T a treasure map. Ice-T's pissed because there's no treasure in this dump. Which, do you really have to buy a treasure map? Like, why would you ever think? Like, why are you like, I really counting on this guy this idiot that sold me a treasure map?
That's never worked, ever.
He ends up throwing the guy through a wall. And they find the Lep statue.
Yeah, lo and behold.
Yeah.
From 3, which was glad. There's some consistency in the franchise for once.
Yes.
For a single solitary moment, there's some consistency.
Ice-T calls it a
Not
midget
really,
Midas
but
motherfucker.
okay.
Well, I mean, no,
They
you're right.
burned the
You're
pot
right,
of
because this
gold
is
to
actually
death.
this is actually in the past.
Oh yeah, and that too.
So there is no consistency. It actually makes the whole franchise even more
forgot.
Fucks up the entire timeline.
Yep.
But that's all right. Good, perfect. And he finds the Lep statue, same necklace and everything. So, Ice-T pulls out the flute, right? Doesn't he steal the flute?
Yes.
And he says, "This is all I want right here." Unfortunately, the buddy, Ice Cube's treasure map seller,
Ice-T.
Ice-T's, oh yeah, that's blue street cred there.
Jesus.
Ice-T's treasure map procurer.
Guy.
I don't
So
know.
official.
He takes off the necklace of the leprechaun,
Dad.
thus waking him up.
He immediately quotes Martin Luther King.
Dude, that was so... Yeah. Honestly, I hate when movies like this do that. Like, it's just so disrespectful when it's such a shitty movie. Like, we'll quote Martin Luther King and like just free at last, free at like, no, stop.
That's what he had in mind when he was saying it.
Yeah, like he would be so appalled if he saw this in
Hope
Leprechaun.
one day at work Davis will say it in a shitty fucking franchise.
Yeah. Oh god. Leprechaun wakes up. He kills Ice-T's buddy with an afro pick to the throat.
Right in the
One of the
throat.
cooler death scenes.
Loved it.
I loved it too. Lep and Ice-T start getting into a fight. I would start calling him Mac Daddy. Lep and Mac Daddy start getting into a fight. And
The chain's like laying perfectly on like a teeter-totter.
One of
like
the-
a board.
one of the problems with this whole franchise is they market it as a comedy, and I never laughed once. And there's not even a lot of jokes, really. It's really just Leprechaun. It's really just this movie that just literally is just told A to B.
A not coherent story.
I mean, they're kind of coherent, I guess, but there's like really no like added stuff. There's nothing that where you're like, the kills aren't that great. The jokes aren't there.
I'm with you.
It's really bland. And,
Yeah, that's why I got burnt out.
and which is, yeah, same. And which is weird because in this scene, Ice-T starts doing like the scary movie almost type humor.
I
He starts
thought
pulling shit
pulling
out
weapons
of his
out of his
afro.
afro. Yes.
He's pulling bats and like nunchucks and like everything out of his afro to fight
Yeah.
the
And it never
leprechaun
comes
with.
back and like play for the rest of the movie. It's just that one scene where he
One
pulls
scene,
shit.
and there's no other scene in any of the leprechauns that did anything even remotely that close to being like, let's try and be funny.
Well, Back to the Hood was when it went like full slapstick because he kept getting hit by shit.
But in some scenes, but it wasn't even like full. It was still like,
Well, yeah, it would go back and
tempered.
forth. But
Yeah.
but you're right. Him pulling shit out of his hair, it was so out of place.
it was so out of place. It was so weird.
It's like a parody.
Yeah.
And then it never comes back.
And
to
it
play.
never comes back.
Yeah.
Nothing ever happens again. Now, this is the best part. So they get into a fight. They start beating the shit out of each other. Ice-T like opens up a steam pipe and blasts him, and it causes the necklace to go flying in the air, which ends up landing perfectly on Leprechaun again, turning him into stone again. Was this the shittiest special effect you've ever seen?
It was the shittiest statue I've ever seen.
Oh yeah. Okay. Well, wait. First, before we get to describing that statue, so first, the effect of turning him into a statue was literally they were showing pictures on the screen of his body parts. They didn't show like a full image. It was like his legs, and then they just put a layer, like a Photoshop layer of
Just, like,
stone
slide
over it,
over it.
and it like dissolved over it.
Yeah.
And they showed his arms and like one at a time. And I was like, oh my God, this is the worst thing I've ever seen. It was not video. It was just pictures. And then they show the finished statue, which looked nothing like the pictures.
Looked nothing like the leprechaun.
Dude, it was the most hideous thing I've ever seen in my life. I laughed so hard. It was so disgusting.
It would be like if somebody came up to you or me and was like, "Hey, make a model of the leprechaun," because it looks so amateur. Like, why couldn't they just take a model of Warwick Davis?
It did. It looked like, it looked like a high school student that was like, here's my diorama of Leprechaun.
Paper mache they had to do for their art class.
Yeah, it was like the burnout kid in the art class. And everyone's like, oh, I drew a picture of a horse. And he's like, I drew a picture of Leprechaun. Like,
Is
oh,
it even
it's
the
nice.
same statue from 3? Or is this one worse?
It starts out as the statue from 3, but then this
gets
new
shittier.
statue, it's like a hideous, it's awful. It's the fucking worst thing I've ever seen.
Abomination.
And that's how we're kind of introduced. So Leprechaun is back to being a statue, and as we'll find out, in a glass jar in Ice-T's mansion.
I think it's so funny that you all picked up on that because my one note in that scene was that statue looks nothing like the fucking leprechaun.
Dude, it was so appalling. It was the most hideous face. It was so weird. We're introduced to Postmaster P, Stray Bullet, and Butch.
Yeah, aspiring rappers.
And Butch is brain damaged.
Was that the angle they were going?
There's a reference to him like having smoked enough crack to like.
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah,
That makes sense
yeah.
now.
somebody
didn't
says
realize
that.
that.
Like somebody was like, "That's what happens when you ingest all those chemicals." Because the whole movie, he's like, "Duh."
Oh no, because he's like a scientist. I think that's what they were getting at. Because he
Why
always,
does he act like such an idiot? He's not a scientist.
Joe, what do you think scientists do and are like?
you remember at the end he puts chemicals together because he experiments with shit. Like
Yeah, I
that's
think
what
it's
he
like
does.
crack. I think he's like.
Joe.
I thought he just like played with ammonia too much in poor ventilated rooms.
Joe, people that make meth aren't real chemists. They would not be
Scientists.
classified as scientists.
Do you know how to make meth?
No.
Exactly.
Okay. That's fair.
It is fair. So we're introduced to these kids. Postmaster P. They're in a rap group. Postmaster P is our
Wait.
You're
What?
sending positive vibes.
Yeah.
positive.
That's why his name's Postmaster P.
It's all positive.
Because he's
He's
sending
sending them.
because he sends positive vibes. Yes.
They're performing a live rap song, like trying to get signed, and they're going all out. And it's in like a room with 2 other people.
There's only 2 guys there, and they're like, "You guys."
He
are
was
terrible."
basically playing for the cast of Lost in Space or Leprechaun 4 in Space.
Yeah, and these guys are not. These guys are not
2
thugs
people in a
or
nightclub. Whatever.
gangsters at all. They're just normal dudes. Except Stray Bullet wants to be bad.
Yes.
Postmaster P is our good guy. Wants to send the positive vibes. Butch is just
Dumb.
dumb.
A scientist.
A scientist. The dumbest scientist on earth. And then Stray Bullet is our
He's hard.
no, he's a wannabe.
Nah, I don't know.
No, he's a wannabe.
He carries a gat.
Yeah, and everyone's like, "Where'd you get that gat, dude?" And he's like, he buys it in the movie. I think we see it. He doesn't like. He's not strapped beforehand. He just wants to be hard. Trust me on this, Paul. Don't question me on this. I had to watch this like 3 times because I kept falling asleep again. The rappers get denied.
And the speakers explode.
The speakers explode.
For no reason.
I guess it's to show that they're really bad.
Yeah, they're trying to get new equipment,
Honestly,
which is why they're trying to sell fake Jimi Hendrix guitars.
that song wasn't
God.
too terrible that they were performing.
Shut up, Joe.
It wasn't that bad.
It was pretty bad.
Come on. That song was not that bad.
I mean, it wasn't like. I mean, I didn't want to like
Alright.
kill myself, but there was no
Compare it
musical
to
instruments.
The
Left in
song
the
at the
Hood.
end.
Yeah.
The
Left
song
in
at
the
the
Hood.
end, it was fucking ridiculous.
Or the Rumpelstiltskin theme song.
Dude, any
that wasn't
song-
that bad.
We keep forgetting.
Dude, the closing credits. Oh, God.
Okay, shut the fuck up. All right, we got to get through this. I don't want to talk about this whole. We have so much to talk about in this movie, so much to unpack. These guys want a record contract. They're not getting it. They're kind of lost. They don't have the talent, or I think they have the talent, but everyone's like,
Well,
we're looking for something hard. Like,
Yeah.
they're looking for
Ice-T's pissed that
East
they're
Coast,
sending
West
positive
They were more
vibes.
like a De La
They
Soul
want
type.
thugs.
They wanted like an NWA type.
Exactly. And but we find we meet Ice-T again, who pulls up next to him, and after their failed performance, and he's doing very well for himself.
Yes.
And one can only imagine it's because
The flute.
the flute,
Yeah.
which he's wearing around his neck, which is ridiculous. Which they never really explain how it works.
No, because later on in the movie, it doesn't bring any success.
It doesn't do
It just
anything.
makes people
It
sleepy.
just slightly mesmerizes people.
Yeah, it's really, really weird.
But you can kind of tell people what to do.
Yeah, that's true.
You could be like, hey, buy my shitty record.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And these kids, they end up going to Ice-T's house, and we see the Leprechaun is in a glass case up there. And Ice-T, performance of his career?
I don't know about that, but he did kill it.
He gave it 110%
He
in this
did.
movie, and I loved it.
It was so good.
He was so enjoyable.
That was the only reason I could sit through it.
Yeah.
Because he was straight bringing it.
This scene,
When he's on the phone, just like screaming,
dude, it's
it
so
was so convincing.
it's so vicious. He's on the phone screaming, and he's screaming at these kids and just calling them losers, and basically tells them to get lost.
I love Ice-T.
Dude, he was so good. Like, honestly, I was just like shocked because it was so real. He must have just been like, hang on.
It's a
Let me
real
just call
call.
a friend. Yeah. Let me just call this piece of shit that I used to know.
there.
Like, let me just call this asshole that I used to know. And you just record it.
That's so funny if he really did that.
I would not be surprised. Dude, that was so convincing. Like, there's no way that phone was empty. He berates that person on the other end of the line. Really convincing though. But he tells the kids to screw off, and they decide, hey, I've got a really good idea. Let's rob him. And by the way, we should mention this guy's got like an army of
He's a certified
giant
OG.
bodyguards.
yeah, I mean, even worse than that. I mean, you're talking about like the money of like Dr. Dre.
Yeah.
Like, he's living in a mansion. He has an army of security dogs, and they're like, hey, great idea. Let's rob this guy.
Yeah.
Let's break into his house and rob him. Just so fucking dumb.
Yeah, he just got done telling some guys basically going to come down there and fuck him up.
And I gotta say, Postmaster not having it. He's saying, I don't want anything to do with it. And honestly, I was like, I actually like Postmaster.
I did too.
It was really weird. I was shocked that I actually gave 2 shits about a character in Leprechaun.
That's
But
why
I
this is
actually
my
cared-
favorite one.
I actually cared about Postmaster.
I did too.
And then when Postmaster does decide to commit the robbery with him, I was like, honestly, like, God damn
Postmaster.
Oh, I wrote no postman.
No,
No postman.
actually
no.
in your notes.
Yeah.
Exactly. In caps.
Yeah. So Postman actually denies he doesn't want to do the robbery, but then shows up last minute. During the robbery, Ice-T shows up.
And Postman becomes the trigger man.
Yeah. Postman does the one thing he really didn't want to do. We gotta stop calling him Postman. He's Postmaster.
Postmaster.
And he ends up shooting Ice-T by accident.
There's a term for that, for anyone that cares.
What?
Like, when people rob stores and they shoot, like, the clerks, there's like a phenomenon that they don't actually mean to, but I can't think of the term. But
accident?
That's not the
Terrible
term.
accident.
But like
This
that's
is
why,
phenomenon.
that's why a lot of clerks get
Accident.
shot when you rob them, because like your instinct is, even if you're getting the money, your instinct's just like squeeze.
That's why you don't put your finger on the trigger.
That's
I know
also
that.
why you don't use. That's also why you don't use a bomb to blow up a glass case with a leprechaun inside. Because that's what they did, and that's what made them shoot Ice-T. Because if a bomb goes off directly to your right, you're probably just gonna hit fire. Fucking that. Oh God, Butch, you got to take it easy, man. You and your chemicals.
So Leprechaun wakes up after they blow up the case, and he immediately busts a rhyme about Tiger Woods, even though he's been a statue for like 20 years.
From the 70s to the year 2000, he immediately wakes up and starts talking about Tiger Woods. What the fuck? Oh my God. And by the way, when the leprechaun wakes up, they put about 1,000,000 bullets into him. This happens like 4 times in this movie, where the leprechaun is just there and like 7 guys are like, fucking kill him. And they literally put millions of bullets into him. It's bizarre.
Ice-T's not dead though.
No.
Because he's saved by something in his pocket.
His necklace.
And then the leprechaun raps about his fat ass.
The leprechaun wraps around his fat ass and just like walks out of the house.
Waddles.
It just leaves. It was, oh God. Ice-T's now all fucked up and he goes.
Oh, dude, I love this scene because Ice-T's acting his ass off. Like
Yes.
he goes to the scene, he's making all these phone calls about how he needs like backup and weapons
Yeah.
and somebody's coming after him. And then he immediately goes into the bathroom, tells some guy to beat it. And like, he's freaking out because he just got robbed.
Yeah.
And there's a leprechaun out
There's
to
a
kill him.
fucking leprechaun.
And then the leprechaun shows up in the bathroom, and Ice-T shares a joint with him.
One of my problems I actually had with like later movies or the later movies in the franchise was after, I think it was 2. Yeah, after 2. In 2, he was like, we talked about it, he was bending time and like almost like Freddy Kruegering people, like displaying full scenes in different locations where they're like, how'd I get home? And it's just the leprechaun fucking with them somehow. And after that, every time I saw, like, because this was so abrupt, Ice-T just goes to a bar, like, Leprechaun leaves first, then Ice-T escapes. Ice-T goes to this club, goes into the bathroom and starts smoking weed, and the leprechaun just appears. And I'm like, okay, the leprechaun is just fucking with him now. Like, this might just be a dream sequence or something, but it's not. Him and the leprechaun just smoke weed in the bathroom.
And Ice-T's hysteric when he first gets to the club, and he's smoking with the leprechaun. Like, why is he not freaking out? And B,
so freaky.
why is the leprechaun not going after the kids?
Yeah.
Why does he show up after Ice-T?
And why does he rip off Ice-T's fucking fingers?
He's wearing a ring again.
Rips his fucking finger off. And wait, hold on. He goes, knock, knock. And he goes, who's there? Gold. He goes, gold who? He goes, gold finger.
Again, it's not a pun. It's not a pun.
This is the second time in the series. He just straight up just ripped a finger off,
Just
like
straight up.
a
It was
piece
like
of warm butter. Just comes right off.
Yeah. And curious aroma. Interesting blend.
That's what he says.
Dude,
Why would the leprechaun smoke weed?
this is when we
You know
realized
about
he has a
Tiger Woods,
drug
but you don't
problem.
know what weed is? Because he's honestly playing like, what is this weed that you speak of?
Yeah.
But he knows who Tiger Woods is. I fucking hate this series, dude. Just commit to one fucking thing. It's not that hard to like be like, okay, he's from the past. That's the jokes we'll make.
It's not hard to commit to that at all.
No,
He's
you
a
don't
fucking
need to make
leprechaun.
modern day jokes. It's okay.
He also now has like electrocuting powers too.
Well,
Oh,
dude,
yeah, that was
he has
fun.
amazing powers, but there's no consistency.
They're not
We just watched him morph into a woman in space. Like, he has amazing skills.
He can go to
The guy
people's
can't
dicks.
fucking kill a single person.
Shoot his essence into people's
Probably
pee
his
holes.
drug problem.
His drug problem is
That's what this whole series is about. It's just a PSA.
It's don't be the Leprechaun. What's the Leprechaun's name? I don't even know. It's something stupid. Oh God.
Warwick?
No, it's not Warwick.
Shut up.
Stop it.
You can't reuse the damn. Well, Postman has the whistle now. He blows on it. Postmaster. I wrote Postman through the rest of my notes, FYI. Yeah, let's just call him Mailman. Let's just call him Carl Malone. Yeah, it's Carl Malone. So Carl Malone blows on the whistle and he puts he learns that he's putting people in trances. And I think the Leprechaun can hear it. I'm not sure. It cuts to the Leprechaun and he's like, woo. Needle drop type of scene, which is really weird because he blows on it for like a split second. Yeah, and it's almost like because Carl Malone uses it. He uses it with the Chinese food. Is it a Chinese food restaurant? The guy's Chinese. His name's Mr. Chow.
Wait, isn't that guy just own a pawn shop?
Oh, is he? No, the pawn shop was a different guy.
I thought they both had different pawn shops.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah, and I thought they're trying.
So people own pawn shops.
Yeah, they're trying to pawn like $1 billion worth of gold stolen from Ice-T.
Yeah.
Just to get new equipment because their speakers blew up.
And they were trying to pawn guitars earlier, but I just assumed that they were going to like anybody. And they were like, "Oh, Mr. Chow." Like, I thought they were just like this guy that owns a Chinese restaurant likes guitars. That makes more sense. Thanks, Paul. Well, using that whistle has like almost marked those people because the Leprechaun just starts showing up and killing them all.
As he should.
And again, none of this makes sense.
Because he doesn't kill anyone else this entire movie.
His name's Lubdun.
Lubdun. Terrible name.
Lubdun. What?
Well,
wait. Is that one of... What do you call it when a word, the letters are just mixed up to say something else? Dublin?
No, it's not
It's
that.
Lubdan.
I know. Did they just take the word Dublin and mix up the letters?
I just spelled it for you.
There's no A in Dublin.
There's a U.
Oh, wait. I thought it was Dublin and then Lubdin.
Lubdan.
Oh, Dan?
Yeah, I literally just spelled it for you.
Yeah, I wasn't paying attention.
Okay. Well,
can't trust Joe.
It was a good effort. And it's probably what they thought.
That person probably misspelled it.
That's what I'm thinking. I actually do think you're correct because everyone that worked on this is stupid. I can't wait for the guy that wrote 3 and 4 to be like, I used to like Fangoria until I found out their podcast was talking about my movies. And passive aggressively be like, hey, it was really mean. I really like it, but it was really mean at the same time. That fucking guy. Oh, man. As we've become more popular, I've slowly started to give less shits about what anyone thinks about it. So Leprechaun chases the kids into a church. We need to get through this fucking movie. They lock him in a safe. I feel like I want to talk about so much stuff here, though.
No, you don't.
There's zombie fly girls who he gets, which he somehow summons from inside the safe.
Yep.
That's whatever. They kill a reverend by punching a hole in his stomach. Classic
Dude, he loves that punch.
That's his finisher.
That's it.
That is his finisher.
There's a transvestite. Again.
Oh yeah, that they stay with her. Yep.
Oh yeah, that was interesting.
And wait, and she tries to bed Leprechaun?
Yeah, she tries to fucking Leprechaun.
The kids now realize what the whistle does, and they're like manipulating it and trying to get their record deals. Who gives a shit?
In this movie, it's really evident that the Lep always knows where to go, but never knows how to find anything once he's there.
Dude, 100%. That is absolutely the case.
He travels the fucking world. He goes to the right spot and never can find shit when he's there.
But then, okay. But then also there's weird things in this where like he kind of just like does his own thing. Like, so in the next scene, okay, so they're in the club. Leprechaun shows up. He basically has these guys cornered and he makes Stray Bullet kill himself, which is probably one of the cooler things he's done in the entire series. Because Stray Bullet has a gun, and the Leprechaun starts controlling, like, his hand, and he turns it to him. First, he puts it to Butch's head. He's going to make Stray Bullet kill Butch. But then he makes him put it to his own head and just fucking kills himself.
Yeah, it was awesome.
It was insane. It was pretty fucked up. Yeah, but after that,
And then he just leaves.
he just leaves.
He lets the other ones think about it.
He's like done with them, essentially.
Yeah.
It's a really bizarre situation, and basically the kids come back because revenge.
Yeah.
And they're greedy, and they're greedy as fuck because everyone wants that whistle back.
Yeah.
Like, just go away with your life.
Wait, who actually has the whistle?
Leprechaun has the whistle.
Leprechaun has a whistle now.
Yeah.
He's living like a fucking king.
And he is living.
Pimp.
Living in the club, getting whores
Pimping the
delivered.
Fly Girls.
Getting
straight up delivered.
getting whores delivered on a daily basis to his.
That was
It was
insane.
That was depressing. Very, very depressing. But yeah, now he's just living like a straight up pimp. So what do they decide to do?
Are you asking?
Yes.
They break out the Leprechauns for Dummies book and figure out you got to cross dress.
That's the ticket.
Yeah.
Leprechaun for Dummies is in this, and they are like, you know what? There's really only one option. We dress as whores and infiltrate Leprechaun.
At least for the first time in like any of the movies, they realize he's a leprechaun. When everyone else is like, yeah, it looks like an alien.
That was only in space. Was the only one where they were like, "Oh, do you see that thing that looks identical to what you would?" If I could use one word to describe this thing, it would be leprechaun. But I'm just going to continue to call it an alien or a monster the entire time.
Well, I mean, let's face it; those people didn't have that high of IQs since they just traveled through space with some doctor that they didn't know.
Oh, that's true.
So they had other issues.
And they also figure that they're going to dress as these women.
Oh, but in that Lep for Dummies book, they also figure out that they can't smoke 4-leaf clover joints.
Wait. Yes. Yeah. I see what you're saying. Yes. They learn that leprechauns are allergic to joints laced with 4-leaf clovers.
Why wouldn't they be?
It's a genius idea to get this little troll who is now addicted to marijuana to smoke a 4-leaf clover cigarette
While sitting on his lap.
that'll kill him.
Cross-dressed.
Great idea. Genius idea. Not genius idea dressing up as women to do it. I feel like all
That's how they get up there.
I feel like all they needed to do was just like
Have a joint.
be like, "Hey, leprechaun,
Probably.
you want some free weed?"
Because that's what
And he'd
Ice-T
be like,
did.
and he's so fucking stupid. Leprechaun is the stupidest bad guy, and he would just be like, "All right, me lads."
Because he doesn't even care about them anymore. All he
Yeah, they don't
wants-
have anything he wants. Why
Yeah.
why do they have to cross-dress? Just go offer him free weed.
Just be like, "Can we hang out with you now?"
Yeah.
I mean, the leprechaun seems like a pretty decent fellow.
pretty chill.
Well, why couldn't they just find like a whore and be like, "Hey, when you go out there, give Leprechaun this joint."
That's what I. Why would you put your?
Listen, if you want it done right, you gotta do it yourself sometimes.
And Butch looks fucking terrible.
I thought it looked all right.
Cam Newton looks great,
Banging.
but Butch not so much.
And Leprechaun, yeah, he wanted that too. He wanted that ass.
So
Leprechaun loves trains.
they give him the 4-leaf clover joint, and he passes out. Again, I don't really understand the whole 4-leaf clover thing. Does it just make him susceptible to damage?
I don't.
And he partially loses his powers as well.
Whatever. He falls asleep.
Dude just passes
So he
out.
just pretty much smokes weed.
But
Yeah.
again, our protagonists don't take advantage. They're just like, okay, let's just get our whistle and leave.
Yeah, that's what happens.
Take him out.
He's just asleep
This
and
is
with
your-
no powers, and you just read a book explaining it all. To
And you know he's gonna come back.
yeah, of course he's gonna come back. He'd come back every time. At this point, I was like, "Oh yeah, what happened to Ice-T? Did that happen to you?" I forgot all about him.
Well, because in that church scene, Leprechaun like blows a hole through his Ice-T's buddy's chest.
Yeah.
He makes a pun about blow for some reason. It blows a hole through his chest. But yeah, then Ice-T shows back up.
Yeah, Ice-T shows back up, and there's gunfire, and Butch ends up taking like 6 bullets to the stomach.
I guess you could say he caught a stray bullet.
But he's not stray bullet.
Yeah, I know.
Oh man.
Thanks, Joe.
But he does add, "Is there pussy in heaven, Post?
Carl.
Is there pussy in heaven, Carl? Can you deliver me some pussy?" So stupid. And that was like a running theme with Butch, was that he'd like never had sex. And and everyone was like, "You're gonna get pussy someday, Butch." And poor Butch dies.
I would like to see him ascend to the pearly gates and St. Peter and
get turned away.
And just immediately ask for pussy.
And so, yeah, he's like, "What's your name?" And he's like, "Is it pussy?" Well, what's your name?
Get the fuck out of here.
What did you just say? Hey, I hear the phone ringing inside. I'll be right back. Just, you can wait here, I guess.
That's purgatory.
That's purgatory. And then they just close that door forever and just make you wait.
Wondering if there's actually pussy in heaven.
And Post shoots T dead because he is pissed.
Yeah. Shoots the shit out of Ice-T.
Yeah. And while this is happening, the Leprechaun's waking up conveniently because they decided not to kill him, so he's back.
That won't bite him in the ass.
But this fucking movie, it looks like Leprechaun's got Postmaster right where he wants him. But Mac Daddy stands up with a fucking chair and just smashes it over the Leprechaun. Mac Daddy is the most resilient bastard of all time.
He should be so dead.
He's gotten shot so many times. I don't care if a stupid necklace protected you. You would still have like the most giant bruise on your stomach.
Yeah. I would never leave my house again.
But Lep explodes his stomach too. As usual.
Finisher.
The necklace goes up in the air
for so long.
So long. It is
like
just floating in air. I don't even know how you film a scene with a necklace in the air that long, unless it's just like
put on fishing lines.
Yeah. Like a 1950s like B movie. Ed Wood directed that. And you assume it's landed on the Leprechaun.
Cut to the next scene.
But you'd assume,
nightclub.
You'd assume wrong, Daddy.
And there's our boy, Postman.
Post is now famous, kind of. He's still in the smallest club of all time.
Yeah.
But he's rocking that stage.
But is he famous? Or is he just
a
zombie for the Leprechaun?
What? He's just a pawn.
And then Leprechaun says, "I taught him everything he knows."
And you see his eyes glow.
Green.
Yeah, you didn't teach him everything he knows. He was doing that before you.
Teach him shit.
Yeah.
You didn't teach him.
You're just there. You're just a big fan.
You're just using a fucking whistle to make him famous.
Why is he doing that?
I don't know.
What does Leprechaun get out of it?
I don't know. And then we hear one of the greatest songs.
Also,
ever.
funny thing, Leprechaun grabs a microphone, and it looks exactly like one of the microphones we use. And it's an XLR microphone. So it's got like 3 prongs that you plug a cable into, and you could see it on the screen, and there's no cable plugged into it.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, it's not wireless.
That's awesome.
Microphone. It's just this, and they were like, let's just pretend it's wireless. Like I would do in like
Leprechaun's
6th
got
grade.
powers.
No, he doesn't.
Okay.
No, he literally doesn't.
He's probably
powers.
so high
His
still.
powers absolutely suck. And then he sings,
"Lep in the hood, come to do no good."
I'm not doing that.
"Lep in the hood came to do no good," and he just repeats that a lot, right?
Yeah.
100 times.
And then the Fly Girls do it for like 6 minutes.
Lep in the hood.
But they're so bad, and they're not even trying.
What
It's
is
a
it?
weird thing.
Lep in
Lep
the
in the
hood.
hood, come to do no good.
Come to do no
Right?
good. That sucks.
Did you guys get it? Like
That line sucked.
It didn't even look like they were trying. It was just like
No, it was
But,
awful.
but nobody's
bad.
been trying in the series.
That's not true. Warwick kills it. Movie after
No,
What?
he
Dude.
does not.
Are you
Warwick's
serious?
such an idiot.
Warwick
Dude,
sucks.
listen. He goes. Listen, he gives it his all. It's not his fault. The director's a hack. In the script sucks.
This is stupid.
But Warwick goes after it. Does he not? You don't think so?
I think
Warwick gives it his all. I'm sorry, he's a shitty source material.
Yeah.
I agree as shitty source material.
I think he gives it his all. He doesn't mail it in.
Well, guys,
Fine.
I hate to cut you guys off, but it's Leprechaun in the Hood, and I think we can just agree to disagree that it's Leprechaun in the Hood. It's not good. Leprechaun in the Hood is not good. Leprechaun in the Hood is not good.
Oh my god. I should stop.
I would put money on there being a video of Gene Siskel or Roger Ebert singing that on his show. I would put money on it. Because that's like the whitest thing ever. That song is like the whitest thing ever. So 3 years again goes by and they decide to make their final installment, which I don't think by any means they were like, this is going to be our final movie. It just was. Leprechaun Back to the Hood. THA. Number 2, THA. The Hood. December 30th, 2003, directed by Who Cares? Man. This thing made no sense. I don't know. Maybe the better death scenes in this one. Do you agree or no?
I didn't mind the death scenes in the Hood.
Well, Back to the Hood opens with a cartoon, and for the first time explaining the Leprechaun story. For the first time ever in 6 movies, we are learning the backstory of the Leprechaun.
It's a good place to start. Part 5.
This is 6.
Yeah. Oh, you're right.
Wait, does that change your opinion?
Nope.
Now it's different. 6 is too far. 5 is perfect. 6, you've just crossed the line and you're a piece of shit. You need to explain it in the first 5 or else you're trash. Yeah. So they give us a little history of the Leprechaun. He I don't even know what he did. He protected the gold for the king, and then he banished him and whatever. And the Leprechaun was too addicted to the gold to let go. So he has guarded the gold his entire life.
And this is the one where we find out his name.
Yes, loved
it. You don't
for the
hear,
first time.
Hear
the
his
last
name.
one.
Yeah.
So we see a priest running around a construction site. And for the first fucking time in 6 movies, they actually use real Leprechaun lore and introduce a rainbow.
Yes.
And when I saw it, first of all, it never crossed my mind to use it because I didn't write the movies. Because that would be the first thing I would say. It would be like, how do you introduce a leprechaun? Or how do you introduce the rainbow into this?
Yeah.
Because the pot of gold is at the end of the rainbow.
Right. Yeah. My first note that I wrote was, holy shit, actual leprechaun folklore.
Oh, yes. Mine is 6 fucking movies for them to introduce a rainbow. It's fucking insane. And really, this is the biggest problem with the series is you have this like surplus of source material and
Don't
you
use it.
none of it.
Don't use it at
Use
all.
none of it. The only thing you just keep reusing is like, wait, what? Huh?
1 shilling.
Somebody stole one of my shillings. Oh, I gotta go get it.
Unfortunately, even though they decided to use the lore, whoever wrote it has no clue what a rainbow is.
Because it literally touches the ground.
And then he has a guy attack it with a shovel.
The guy's swinging a shovel at it. And later on in the movie, it reappears and a woman starts taking a shower
That's
in it.
bathing in it. Fucking rainbow.
It's a... First of all, does the gentleman know rainbows don't touch the ground? And like, it touches the ground. That should be where the gold... Or is that where the gold... No, they're not thinking that hard. But the gold is underneath the ground.
It is.
In that
Yeah.
location.
Yes.
Yep.
But I don't think that was their intention.
I mean,
I think they just put a rainbow in. Because the rainbow never shows
isn't
up.
a rainbow all about perspective too? Like where you're standing?
Well, of course, in science. But
yeah. Okay.
I don't know. Ask Butch. Scientist. Leprechaun is hunting down this old priest. This is actually a pretty good moment.
Yeah.
And the priest uses holy water and some type of like relic knife.
Because leprechauns are vampires.
Yeah, that was weird. But I accepted it because at least there was like some
thought.
something.
Yeah.
There was something besides like, hey, let's put this 4-leaf clover on him. and then throw him into a well and light him on fire.
Yeah, honestly, this movie starts off pretty solid.
Real solid, and I was really excited, and it just gets kind of rough.
Well, it turns into slapstick.
That was like probably the best part of it. But he banishes the leprechaun to hell, but he also dies. And they find out that this priest had been building a community center, and he must have been using the leprechaun's gold to do so. Because after his death, all the money disappears, and the community center is now just a pile of rubble. Which is pretty fucking depressing.
It's only been 1 year later.
By the way, there's like the editing in this is so terrible. It was made on like an iMac.
Dude,
Yeah,
there's some scenes where the transitions are ridiculous.
It's like the page
it's
flip.
squares that like
Yeah. It's like the
Star wipe.
It's
Yeah.
like the star wipe. It's like the page flip. Like,
That's literally my first note.
It's
Sweet wipe
unbelievable.
transition.
it's iMovie transitions like abound. It's awful. We're introduced to our leads: Emily, Rory, Jamie, Lisa, Watson. There's so many people in this movie that I had a hard time keeping track of them.
Well, I didn't because it tells her entire backstory.
Oh my god, so painstaking.
I forgot there was a
long.
leprechaun in this movie.
Oh my god, and we talked about this on one of the other ones. This is another one of their faults is they just give you so much backstory, like way too much. Like we are sitting in Leprechaun 6. We know what we are getting. I don't give a fuck. We not to mention the stories barely make sense anyway.
Yeah.
So what does it matter?
there's no need to be that.
We're
in-depth.
learning about she wants to go to college, doesn't come back. Wants to like she's a hairdresser, doesn't really come
Guys
back.
infringing on another guy's turf.
I'm all for
Bunch of
character
badasses.
development, but this is
But
ridiculous.
why develop it? Why develop
Well, yeah, but why now? Yeah.
Dude, could you imagine like in a Jason movie, like 30 minutes of like learning about
Jason
the kid?
takes Manhattan. You just learn about the taxi driver's backstory.
Yeah, and it's like, oh yeah, I had bigger dreams than this. I wanted to work on Wall Street, but things didn't go my way. It's like, whoa, wow, this is really depressing. And it's like, oh, we didn't need to know any of that.
Yeah.
She's just about to be murdered.
Yep.
It does nothing for these characters, and you don't feel for them. Or
Also,
anything.
Sticky Fingers needed a way bigger role.
Sticky Fingers did need a way bigger role. He was kind of like the crony to Watson. He was
Yeah.
Cedric, the crony
He
to
should have
Watson.
been the leader.
I don't see why not.
Sticky Fingers wasn't the best scene though.
Which one?
When he rides up on the motorcycle like 100 miles per hour and bops him in the head with that bat.
Yo, I honestly, I didn't know what his name was. Well, first of all, I thought that guy was two different characters. I thought, because I refer to him as Batman the whole in all my notes because of the bat scene.
Oh god.
Because it was so insane. But I thought he was a different I don't know. I thought there were two different characters. One was like the bad boy after the girl, and one was like the misunderstood gangster. Little did I know it's the same fucking
Yup.
guy. But the reason I thought they were different was because they kind of paint it two different ways. They do paint him as this gangster that's misunderstood.
Yeah, because he's this badass dude on the motorcycle. And then he's also with that girl.
But then he is a gangster. It's not that he's misunderstood. He is a criminal participating in criminal activity. And I was like, oh, that's weird. Like, so don't do the misunderstood angle. Because like whenever he sees a girl, he's like, baby, like you don't understand. Like you don't like honestly, I thought the end was gonna be like he was selling textbooks out of his trunk. Because there were scenes where it's like, yo, look at him. He's selling to our customers. And he's like selling to like these like rich white guys in like another neighborhood.
I have to ask you, did you really think it was going to be textbooks?
No, but I thought well, you know how they do corny stuff like that to like make they go so overboard to make the misunderstood gangster
Right.
look not like a gangster. They're like, well, we can't have him just be like selling clock radios. It's got to be like way over the board, like educational books and like feeding the poor. Like it's
feeding the poor.
Out of the back of his truck.
it's always like the most ludicrous thing. It's like they have to do it so on the opposite side of the spectrum. It's never gray. It's like it's just ridiculous.
Yes.
But that's what I thought. I thought he was going to be like, you think I'm like selling drugs? Like, no, I'm selling books, selling Bibles. And they'd be like, oh, we totally misunderstood you. But no, he's selling drugs out of his car.
Yes.
100% to everyone. And infringing on gang members' turf, which frankly,
Don't do
Bullshit. Don't do
that
it.
is bullshit.
Don't do it.
Again, like that's why I thought it was going to
It's
be like
looking for trouble.
when they're watching him do it and they're like, he's on our turf. I was like, okay, I get it. He's going to be selling books. I was really hanging on to that book angle. But no, he was selling drugs on their turf. And yeah, they should have murdered him. They absolutely should have murdered him.
So many other places to sell
and
drugs.
put his body in a drum full of acid and just left it. I mean, that's what they do. Paul, don't shake your head at me. You act like you've never been in a gang before, Paul.
Dude, that's like what H.H. Holmes does.
No, H.H. Holmes just like shoved the bodies down chutes and they went
Yeah,
down
and he
to
had
his basement.
acid baths in the basement.
Is that how he got the bones clean?
Yeah, and then he sold them
Yeah, okay.
to colleges.
Do you know what we're talking about?
So if you went to
course I
like,
know what you're talking
if you went to the
You just look
school in
disgusted.
Illinois,
That's 'cause we're
you
talking
may
about
have
H.H.
bought.
Holmes.
No, I was
H.H. Holmes body.
impressed that you both knew so much about H.H. Holmes.
This episode is stupid. I just noticed this trend that we were really doing everything we can to not talk about the Leprechaun movies. It just appears that we're just grasping onto anything besides Leprechaun because
Like selling books.
I mean, what happens here? They fall through. They meet a fortune teller. She tells them bad things are going to happen. She says you're going to come into wealth, but don't take it. That girl falls down a hole, finds a pot of gold, and she takes it.
Which,
by the way, to get to the gold, she had to crawl through a very tiny door. Not normal circumstances. You'd probably call the police.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Or not go through the door.
Or not go through the door. Well, that was the other thing. I love in these movies. Dude, you just fell down a cave. Why would you ever explore it?
I would never explore a cave, period.
She finds a candle. She like looks around and finds a candle and lights it with the lighter that she had and just starts just walking through this underground cave.
So
like,
convenient.
Dude, I'd be so fucking scared. Makes no sense. Also, the cave is like a giant wood box that she falls through with like an inch of sand over it because it's on the side of the playground.
The
right?
playground,
or
yeah.
the community center. Probably not safe to have a massive construction site over this thing when a 100-pound girl falls through it just standing on it. It kind of makes no sense.
That's probably true.
So she finds the gold. And they just immediately start spending it wildly.
Yes. And this also wakes up the leprechaun.
Yeah.
Because they take his gold.
Of course.
Of course.
And how do you get the gold turned into cash? Where they take it?
I don't know.
That's like my biggest...
Good old Tom's.
Come on down.
I hope the leprechaun is just... I want to see a leprechaun where he just gives out predatory loans. At like 500% interest rates.
It'd be better than this.
And just like, I want to see like a real I want to see like a Better Call Saul leprechaun in the predatory loan industry where it's like just very dry. It's not a lot of action, but just a lot of just all the behind the scenes dealings.
I would watch that.
I would totally watch it. And the leprechaun is back hanging out in a tree like a fucking cat.
Yep.
Total cat.
Meowed.
He's like, he's in the top of a tree. Leprechaun has never been in a tree in any movie. And
That's
for
so
some
nimble.
reason, he's just hanging out
watching.
at the top of
Just
a tree.
watching.
And by the way, there's no leaves on this tree. Everyone could see a leprechaun in that tree. In a crowded city.
Did it take place in Mobile, Alabama?
Oh my God. Okay, so let's talk about that. Thank you for reminding me about that. So,
Y'all seen Leprechaun say yeah?
dude, how do you not utilize that? Did that come after?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it did?
Yeah. What year did this come out? 2003?
2003.
Yeah, that was like 2005.
Oh, okay. So I'll give him a pass because I was going to say.
But I had the flu.
It had Leprechaun flu. Passed down from that guy's ancestors in Ireland.
And then here's my other question. How high was that guy when he watched Leprechaun Back to the Hood and then woke up and was like, oh my God, I saw a leprechaun in the tree at my house. And then told his whole neighborhood. And then they were like, oh my God.
Y'all seen Leprechaun say yeah?
For those that don't know what we're talking about, on YouTube, type in
Get a
Mobile.
computer.
Type in Mobile, Alabama leprechaun, because in 2005 there was a story where the town thought they saw a leprechaun in a tree, and it's just a landmine of gold.
And it's so funny quotes. It's so funny, and but it appears to have started from this one guy, this one very suspicious looking man, eyewitness account, and then everyone kind of just was like, "Fuck it, yeah, I saw it too," because obviously no one saw a fucking leprechaun.
Wait, you don't believe them?
But imagine if some kid was just like, "You want to see something real fucked up?" and then just dressed up as a leprechaun and just fucked with the entire town, and they were just like, "Holy shit!"
It's amazing how many people in that town thought they saw a leprechaun. And this one guy has a bulletproof vest on and the leprechaun flute. And
He's got the flute.
He's an expert leprechaun catcher.
But he can't catch a leprechaun.
But he can't find the one in his town
that hangs out in trees. Oh my god, it's so funny. But yeah, I was like, how do you not use that? But that makes sense. So Leprechaun is back. We start seeing some Leprechaun again is just getting high with people. This is the scene we talked about in the last one where he gets high with this guy. He's looking for his gold. And Mr. I can sense my gold from like 100 miles away is sitting next to the guy that has a gold piece of his right next to him and getting high with him.
Yeah, he stumbles in the room and then just like, and just starts ripping bongs.
Starts ripping bongs, and then the guy stands up, drops the coin, and the leprechaun's like,
Holy shit,
that's my shilling.
Bro.
And then stabs him in the guts with his bong.
It's like Chris Farley in that. Do you remember when Chris Farley... No, not that. Do you guys... This is so stupid and off topic. When, I think it's Phil Hartman, he's like, hey, did you know you just had Diet Pepsi? And he's like, you lied to me.
Yeah. Yes, it's exactly like that. Totally. And he stabs this guy in the guts with his bong.
It was awesome.
It was awesome. I love when they kill somebody with a bong. That's such a vicious kill. Just a huge circle. Like, could you just take out... You can just imagine taking out the glass and it's just got a giant piece of flesh in there.
It's gross.
It's totally gross. But I love it. And then Leprechaun ends it with, thanks for the smoke.
And then stumbles out into the kitchen.
With the best scene in the movie.
Is that the one where he gets locked in the fridge?
Yes.
Hit in the face with the fridge door?
Doing a full Three Stooges Abbott Costello routine.
The guy makes a whole sandwich without looking down and seeing Leprechaun.
It's the comic relief guy. I forget his name already. Lewis
Stooge.
Or something. Stooge. But the Leprechaun's just wandering around the party. He stumbles into the kitchen. Him and this guy are just like, one goes the other way, and then they're both like at different counters, but they're both making sandwiches, and Leprechaun's in the fridge, like looking at like normal people food, but like, ugh, what do I do with this? You know, despite knowing everything about modern time, over his head and just dumps him behind his head, breaking it and spilling the pickles everywhere, which the other guy doesn't understand. The guy standing right next to him is like,
the pigs?
And then it ultimately ends with the guy trying to kick the door shut and slamming the Leprechaun inside. Oh, God.
That's so stupid.
Now, one thing is when these guys got the gold, there was like a montage of them showing them like what they did with it and stuff. And we had seen this comic relief walking through the streets with 2 giant garbage bags. And you didn't really know what it was full of, but there were little kids, like 5, 6, 7-year-olds, running with him and like jumping up at the garbage bags. And I was like, oh, he's like doing right by the community. Like that's what he's doing with his money. That's pretty cool. And then the cops show up at this party to figure out why this guy got stabbed in the guts with a bong. And they open up the garbage bags, and they're just filled with weed.
So much weed. Also, by the way,
the girl who...
I'm not a weed connoisseur. You know, I've
it looked like garbage.
That weed is the shittiest fucking weed I've ever seen in my life.
Looks like just mowed my lawn.
Yeah, exactly.
It was absurd. What else do we want to talk about in this?
I have a gigantic problem with that chest of gold, that little chest of gold that they have.
What about
because after they buy all these things and the Leprechaun comes back, the girl remembers that the fortune teller told her about her luck and they'd run into a fortune and all this bad stuff. And they're like, well, we have to replace the gold. And they open up the chest and it's filled with gold again.
Yeah. Why would the Leprechaun give a shit?
So the 5 prior movies, when Leprechaun's missing 1 shilling, why doesn't he just fucking regenerate it again? Because all the gold is regenerating every time they open it.
Because it's still his shilling, man.
God, I'm fucking pissed.
I know. I mean, he has an infinite supply of gold.
It makes no sense.
No, it makes absolutely zero
I guess
sense.
6 movies in, I shouldn't be.
Well, can we talk about
gripe about this?
How after so the guy in the bag of the weed, he gets arrested, and then Leprechaun gets into a fight with one of the. wait, hold on. First of all, there's a whole scene about a girl getting 1 gold tooth. It's like the longest, most irrelevant scene ever.
It's so long, and she melts down a shilling and puts it on her tooth, and it's like, damn, I look good. And it's like, no, you look terrible.
I thought it was all right.
And then there's a big lady getting a massage, and Leprechaun's just stepping all over with his big, disgusting feet.
Yeah, the woman's expecting a massage from a very little woman, just an average woman, our lead character. And the Leprechaun walks in and just starts giving this woman a massage for no reason. And she's like, oh, this is so good.
Yeah, it was a good massage.
And then she's only disturbed. Whatever.
For no reason, he just chokes the shit out of her.
Yep.
And the main character takes a buzzer like that you do for crew cuts.
Dude, that was
to his
crazy.
eye, which is awesome.
That was awesome. I was like, is that really a buzzer to the eye?
Squirting like green blood everywhere.
Yeah, it's nuts. That was pretty cool. Also, that kill when he kills that lady with the massaging, it is the same kill as in All Through the House. He's just like rubbing her neck.
Yes, agreed.
And she just is like, and like her.
And she's so much bigger than him.
Yeah, his hands don't go around her neck.
No.
And he's behind her anyways.
It made
his
no
hands on the
sense.
back of her neck.
Yeah, just a
Give her
gentle
pinched
massage.
nerve.
He pinched nerve to death.
Maybe there's something we don't know.
Yeah, the dim mock.
It was a tongue and death grip.
No, but then after he gets the buzzer to the eye, he tries to run after her, and then more slapstick. The wire just snaps.
The
pulls him
cord
back.
isn't long enough.
Guys, I have more notes on this than any other movie I've ever done. I'm just scrolling through because I'm like, okay, we need to like kind of move on here, and like I'm trying to like figure out where I want to go, and I'm like, oh, I've written down the whole movie. I wrote down the whole fucking movie because there was just so much that made.
Well, dude, after he gets snapped back, I think this was one of the biggest wasted scenes in Leprechaun history because he corners the girl and he breaks through and he pops his big stupid leprechaun face through. And like, oh, you should say, "Here's Johnny." He doesn't say shit.
I thought that's what was coming.
He doesn't say anything.
Such a waste.
They're probably gonna have rights. They're like, we're gonna get sued over this.
Joe,
If anyone sees it.
then she burns him with an aerosol can and a lighter, and that fight scene was like the choppiest fight scene I've ever seen, ever.
Yeah.
You've never seen that Captain Kirk fight?
Well, all right, fine.
Now, I gotta know, how do we get to the scene? I gotta know, how do we get to the scene
With the cop?
With the cop? Because we see the...
I forgot about that.
Hits him with a baton.
So, why... The cops are there to...
exactly what he does.
The cops are there to what? Break up the...
This was
No, the cops... Why do the cops show up? I'm sure to go after Batman, right? Because that's who they're always pissed at that guy. Regardless, the leprechaun starts walking up to them.
so slow.
It's supposed to be
He's like a mile away.
and it's supposed to be menacing. It's the least menacing walk I've ever seen. It's sad. I mean, it's sad. It's like this crooked walk.
Yeah, the cops, what? You gonna keep coming? You want some of this?
Yeah. And they converge in the middle of the day, in the middle of the city.
Yeah.
Like, what is happening? He rips off the cop's leg.
Yeah. He kicks the
This is
leprechaun.
also where the cutscenes were so atrocious.
It was so
Yeah.
bad.
But yeah, he rips
The
off the cop.
cop kicks the leprechaun, and then it shows like a close up of the cop, and he looks normal. And then it zooms out, and you realize the cop's leg is gone because the leprechaun caught his kick, it just ripped it off.
And
It was a hop after.
the cop is hopping, and he's going, "Give that back." What do you think you're gonna do with your leg? And he dies.
And then
The leprechaun like ripped his heart out too, didn't he?
I think that was another cop.
No,
right?
that was the gang leader.
Oh,
In the
yeah.
scene after.
Yeah,
So the main characters, they drive away.
Oh, my God.
And then Sticky Fingers and his gang confront them, you know, they're gonna shoot Rory, and then the cop car pulls up to break up the fight.
And it's Leprechaun.
But Leprechaun couldn't reach the pedals, so he used the ripped off cop's leg to press the gas.
You know how hard that would be? That would be like the hardest task to accomplish.
Dude. Oh my god.
It would be so hard. It would be so fucking hard.
And then you're right. Leprechaun gets shot so many times.
Yeah, with like AK-47s.
Yeah, everyone's got a machine gun, and they just throw.
By the way, Sticky Fingers makes the best angry faces.
Yes.
Nobody looks more angry than he does.
Yeah. Oh God. So he pulls out Watson's heart. The gang puts 1,000,000 bullets into him.
And then Lep gets up and goes, "What's up, ninjas?"
Because of my ninjas
Yeah,
earlier.
that's what they say instead of the N word.
They get away. They run the Leprechaun over, but he's hanging underneath the car, and they lose him by using hydraulics.
Yeah. Hit the switch.
Pump those hydros.
And they've driven about a mile, but when the Leprechaun falls off, he realizes he has Watson's cell phone somehow. It's like in the street. I don't even understand this fucking movie. They just like did whatever they wanted.
And then Lep answers the call.
Dude.
starts talking about his bod and his dick.
Watson's girlfriend calls him, and he's like,
God.
"I'm 3'6", but I make up for it in other areas, if you know what I mean." You're like, "Oh, fucking terrible." And he's like saying shit like, "Oh, what do I look like? I got red hair." And like, what else does he say? He's like, "Oh, I'm a pretty sharp dresser." What the fuck? Why would he care? Why does he give a shit? If he wants to live a normal life, just stop hunting down a single shilling. Just get your fucking box back. And
Also, last movie, he had his own hotel with all the women in the world that he wanted.
just go.
Just go back to your place.
Yeah. Continue to be a pimp.
Although that was the kid's fault. Fuck them. They have to go back to the Leprechaun, and guess what? Or they have to go back to the fortune teller. Guess what the fortune teller tells them?
Oh, you gotta put clover in some weed.
4-leaf clovers.
Go figure. Like, do we really have to have this scene in every movie? We know what fuck.
Make some
Jesus
hollow
Christ.
points.
Now, let's also go back to the beginning where our dummy idiot comic relief is talking to Batman, and he's like, "Yo, man, the weed you sold me had clovers in it." And he's like, "No, it didn't." It's like, "Show me proof."
Yeah, you got a receipt?
Then he can't find the joint with the clovers in it. So you're thinking like, "Oh, okay, this is like magical." Or it's like somehow related to the Leprechaun. It's not. He just got bad weed. And it's true. Because when he's like, "Oh yeah, I've got that joint with clover in it." And the guy's like, "Oh shit, there is clovers in it." And that's it. That's it. I thought it was like some sort of like tie-in or something. Not. It's just weed with clovers in it.
Yeah.
That he found a 4-leaf clover in. And now our main guy proceeds to chop up the 4-leaf clover, which I don't think would work. I feel like you kind of have to have that hole, but
You would think so.
and he puts them in hollow point
Smashable.
bullets. Puts them in hollow tips. Probably not safe. Probably doesn't work. They have a fight on the hotel on the roof of some building. I don't even know.
I don't know either.
I was gonna say the community center, but that's not built. But they shoot Leprechaun, and then they throw him off the roof into cement, where he's too weak from the clover bullet and sinks and dies.
Also, the clairvoyant has like special powers for some reason because she shows up and then.
Also,
she's
why
like a
is there
warlock.
wet cement in the middle of the night? It
Why
was
is
the
there-
wettest
why is
cement.
there-
It was just like water.
You're right. Why is there wet cement there? Period. They couldn't finish building the community center. It's just wet.
Yeah.
Wait, the construction
Who
workers
laid
are
it?
like, "We're not going to dry out the cement until you pay us.
Yeah.
We're just going to leave this wet
Keep it
cement.
wet.
Wide open.
We're just going to
No
stir
tape.
it every day until you
Keep
pay
going
us
back
for
every
our
hour
work."
and adding water to it.
Like, why was that wet? Why was there wet cement? Jesus Christ. I had questions about this movie, but I don't even care about them anymore. I was gonna ask you, what would you have done to make this franchise better?
Not made it.
Yep. Stopped after the first.
Yeah.
Or gone directly from 1 to In the Hood.
All right, and
The serious answer to that is actually use Leprechaun folklore.
yeah.
And, not make him make shitty puns.
Yeah, and they made a remake. Well, not a remake, I guess, more of an origin story, but it is a remake because it has nothing to do with this franchise. Leprechaun Origins.
With Hornswoggle as the Lep.
And they didn't do anything different.
No.
Just nonsense.
Not at all. And he doesn't even look like a leprechaun.
No, he looks like a monster. Yeah. Spoiler alert. I have another new game, too.
Oh, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to play Rotten Tomatoes real quick?
Yeah, this game will take 2 seconds. It's called Things You'd Rather Do Than Watch All the Leprechaun Movies in 3 days.
Jesus.
You have 3 days. What would you rather do? It's pretty graphic,
I wasn't
Joe.
gonna be that graphic, but I would rather do just about anything.
I think I would sit in silence for 3 days. I think I'd sit in solitary confinement.
So much more fun.
Like, just with my thoughts, I think I'd have a lot more fun.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Anyways, what do you think this got on Rotten Tomatoes?
3.
Percent?
0.
No.
Wait.
What?
We're doing Back to the Hood?
Sure.
Are we gonna do
What is that?
fucking Leprechaun?
There's a leprechaun in the hood.
Leprechaun.
After the shilling?
All right, what did it get?
25%.
No fucking way.
Yeah,
but the other
Back
two
to the
got-
Hood?
Back to the Hood got 25%.
What did In the Hood get?
What do you think?
30.
How did that get 25 and all the other ones have zeros?
So,
I don't know.
To recap, Leprechaun 1, 25%. 2, 0, 3, 0, 4, 0. Back to the Hood, 25.
It's got to be 30%.
16?
33%.
Wow.
Lep in the Hood
Yeah,
is the highest.
These were almost the most enjoyable.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Well,
liked
they were.
I liked In the Hood for a bit. I mean, I thought it got way too long.
Almost. Well, guys, that was not fun. Happy St. Patrick's Day, by the way.
Oh, yeah. It is
Yay.
St. Patrick's Day.
Happy birthday to Kurt Russell, too. 65 years old.
Wow.
My hero.
65?
65 years young.
You know what I'd rather be doing for 3 days? Watching Tango and Cash on repeat.
Yes.
Yep.
Anything with Kurt Russell. Well,
Silkwood?
well, everybody, thank you for joining us. Next week, we have Rumpelstiltskin.
Yeah.
One of my childhood favorites, this fucking cat. One of my childhood favorites. I cannot wait to watch it. It's going to be exciting. Paul will join us for that, and that'll be the last time we hear from Paul for another 3 months.
Forever.
Maybe forever. If all things go accordingly. Well, thank you for listening. We appreciate it. Rate, review, subscribe on iTunes. If you do, send me an email. God, there will be a day I can do this 100%. I hate horror show at gmail.com or Sean at ihatehorror.com, whatever. Send me an email. Let me know your name, that you left a review, and I'll send out some stickers to you for free. If you can't do that, or if you just don't feel like it, just tell your friends, because that's the best way. That's really what helps us. You can find us at Facebook, facebook.com/ihatehorror. I'm on Twitter at ihatehorrorshow.
I'm at JoeV421.
And we're on Instagram at ihatehorrorshow. And at, what's yours? Let's plug your Instagram.
My Instagram's Boognish1985.
Oh, yeah, that's it. The Boog. Boognish. It's Italian for Joe, or French for Joe. That's really it. Do we have anything else that we have to close with? Thanks for Harley Poe for allowing us to use the song.
Pagan Holiday.
Oh,
Gorehound off.
We haven't thanked him in a while, so thanks, Harley Poe. I really like that song. And that's it.
Yeah.
So for Joe, this is Sean. Stay weird.
Thank you.
Adios.